Hey guys, it's me, Meteor'z. Welcome back to Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. Today we're going to be finishing up Rockstar by heading off into the high mountains. Let's go and begin and see what this is. Here we'll very quickly see one of the coolest abilities in the game, and probably one of the most OP ones in the game. Needle and Rock. We got ourselves a nice little drill here, but that's not it. Well, alright, not showing off how OP it is. Pretty much, you could just... I'll show it off eventually, dang it. Alright, so basically here, you kind of like constantly shoot in the air. You can keep on just mashing this. It hits people from any distance. And the best part is, it keeps moving after it hits an enemy. So basically, you could constantly just use this to just blow through any enemies very quickly like that. How nice is that? In fact, I might have already opened that up. There's a section right here which you need to break with stone of some sort. And because it kind of faces through walls too. Another thing about this ability, well, we already opened that up. So, first crystal shard is right there. Isn't that nice? And I just remembered I forgot to do something, but oh well. Hopefully I don't mess up horribly in remembering it. I meant to check something earlier, but no big deal. Let's just hopefully see if I get the right thing here. See, look how awesome that is. You can just go in the air, kill all three in a row, and you continue to fire them as many as possible too. They have a very wide range as well. You can barely even, you don't have to really aim. You can just keep on just hitting people like this constantly. And you can even kind of float in the air and constantly use it. Or just let it drag you across if you just hold down the button. But it's honestly just more efficient to just do that. So much more efficient. Look at that. Look how useful that is. Ow. Okay, that's... I knew when I shot that off that wasn't going to be the best example. I was going to pretty much fall right into a pit at that point. But I decided to do it anyway. Stupid pterodactyl thingies. Oh man, I just managed to destroy one there too. You know, so you small little platform, just keep jumping over that. Ah! And here I am, almost about to die. Okay, well that was nice. Okay, well, there are three things Adeline here could draw. The first one is a hat, so we'll show off that. And then I'll go ahead and proceed to show off all the other ones you need to make as well, too. Pretty much with the hat, you just want to break one side, except for the one that blocks at the very bottom. I mean, to me, a hat could be... like, it's kind of hard to tell what they were looking for with a hat. Like, you could have maybe 2 rows at the bottom. You could have maybe 1 row thinner. I don't know. But the game wants just one small rack and to get it in between. There we are. Now let me show off the others. I'm just going to go phase off this and then go back on screen. Alright, so let's say you get the pizza. Basically, the pizza here, you want to break off this corner. Break off each corner 3 blocks, like that. Save the last corner for last because you need to break everything in the last corner there at the bottom. And finally for this corner, just break these 3 this way. And that's how it looks like for the pizza. And then one last one you get is the umbrella. Let me show that off too. Alright, so for the umbrella what we want to do is go up here, break everything in the top, except for that last one. Then only break 2 on each side this way, and then 3, and then do the same thing on the other side, and then finally just break this and just leave pretty much the handle on that side too. And that's what you need for the parasol in case you get it. Those are the 3 images. And I need to find some health soon or else I'm going to be not really in a lot of trouble. I mean, I could just pretty much kill myself and just end up back at full health again. So I guess it's not really too big of a deal, I suppose. I feel like I should just do that now to avoid the annoying chirping sound every time I have to enter a level. Or I can just do that. There we go. Perfect. We got 2 crystal shards now. We just need to find the 3rd one, which is not till the end. You don't really need an ability for it, so you don't need to worry about that either. So pretty much just move along the level like you would normally. These platforms, of course, they jump down, or they fall down, not really jump down. And look, more health for you to restore. Get rid of that. And look, we are now officially back at full health. Thankfully that wasn't a pit or anything. I find it interesting that in this game you can inhale a block and an enemy at the same time. Whereas no! Whoa, that was actually unintentionally helpful because I almost forgot about a crystal shard there. You'll see this star floating above it. That star leads to a crystal shard. That unintentionally worked out. What was I talking about before that? I was just talking about something. Whatever. It doesn't really matter, does it? Yay, we get the double spike if we really want it, which is terrible for this level because if you try using that, you're gonna stuck on those platforms and just fall into a pit and, well, death. Not recommended. And then you see these rocks, they spell out Kirby. That's normally you see Hal spell out Hal, but this time they spelled out Kirby with the rocks. Look at, that was like literally the edge. The enemy placement's kind of annoying because it's like you have a small platform there and you can jump over towards it. You can't inhale the enemy from afar, so you're pretty much just hoping that you could land on it or inhale at the exact same time, which makes it extremely annoying, but whatever. Either way, that's the end of the level there. And yay, we got it. So next, for this, we need ice in this. Ice is found nowhere in this level. So let me go back and get that real quick. I recommend, of course, getting that over in Aqua Star. Or actually, no, I recommend getting that over in level 1 once again. And once again, this level. But later in level, you'll see. Alright, so once you're in this tree here, just go up and you'll see a chili. That didn't exactly go what I wanted it to. Alright, no problem. Now, you could use any combined ability with ice, so long as it is not ice plus electricity. You may think, oh, I can go through that level easier if I just, could restore my health on a constant basis. Except it doesn't do ice damage, it just shows out food. So because of that, it won't allow you to get the shard you need. And I believe you need a copy ability too. You need a combination. The regular ice will not do it either. So I'd recommend the snowball, which is taking 2 in a row and just doing that. Very, very helpful for the level. Anyway, let's go back over to Neostar now. Technically I could play the level itself without using the snowball and show you how the level plays out, but that would just be wasting time for myself. See, for these sections you'll see falling meteors, or not falling meteors, just falling rocks. Ash? Looks like ash. Really, really large ash at that, judging by the background, but doesn't matter. Either way, with this, you pretty much turn into an impenetrable stone, and you can pretty much take all those hits easily. Fun fact. Well, I'll get to that later. Not right now. You could even take fireball hits from that thing too, which is kind of annoying up in the air. Very easy to go through a level if you kind of like jump towards it, but there are small platforms here, so you need to also wait or you're going to be running yourself into some problems. Look at that. Look how nice that is. Very, very helpful. Let's see if we can get through this entire thing without taking any damage. That'd be nice. So far, so good. Whee! And now we have the Dededee section. Oh, I'm definitely gonna take damage here. I swear, there's one jump I find absolutely impossible to do without taking damage. I'll get there in a second. I really don't understand. Well, that's definitely not it, but I'm just being plain risky. Some of these you can break both sides on. You could also charge up with Dededee to do that. And I don't know who texted me. Oh, okay, that was okay. Whoops. Let me just focus on what I'm doing here. And see, save so much time if you break them that way. Doesn't really affect much when it comes to enemies though, because your hammer hits in one hit regardless, and you don't fight any bosses with this thing. So, doesn't really matter. Okay. Now you see these pillars here. There's only one section on these to break. Or so you think. You go over here. And you'll notice you could also break that section, which contains a crystal shard. Easy to miss if you're not looking for it. Okay, the jump I'm talking about is up ahead. This jump right here. Oh my gosh, I did it. That is literally the first time I did that jump in practice or anything. Like, I always tried like jumping over towards it or landing on it. It would always land on top of me because Dededee is so big. Sometimes I try to hit it in the air as I jump there. I still hit it. I somehow managed to do that jump without taking damage. I'm proud of myself. Maybe it's super easy. I'm not even thinking it, but I don't know. I just had a really hard time not making that jump properly. I guess in the same sense, I still did take damage, so I was right about that. But it's only because of those birds that drop. That's right. I was supposed to go over here with snowball. Gordos could still hit you. See, they could still pop you. So really, watch out for that. I want to get this sandwich. This is fun. It's like, it reminds me of a very slow version of one of the levels in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, where you're playing as a snowball. Just very slowly. Note this section here reminds me of that horrible, notorious final level in Harmonite. I don't want to ever experience that ever again. That was not fun. This section is substantially easier with Kirby. These Bondo birds are going to run directly into you and just get absorbed in your snowball, and you can proceed forward that way. Ow. Oh well, I deserve that. I like the lava effect here. It's kind of nice. Okay, if I did it again, I'm pretty sure I'd have lost my power, and that would have really annoyed me. I have to go through the entire level again without that power. This thing right here. Yeah, no, I said most combo abilities are sensed by their color. Here, you would think it's probably, you know, Volcano, where you combine fire and rock. You even have like a little maraca thing standing there in the background shaking it, kind of like it's asking for a volcano dance or something like that. Like it's asking to make a volcano. But you use that ability and nothing works. In fact, when I originally played this game back when I was 11, I think that's right. I think that's when they calculated it out. I went through every fire combination thinking I got something wrong until I eventually got to fire and ice and went through this entire stage with fire and ice before that broke. Then I realized every combination with ice breaks that. How would you know that? There's nothing else in the game that requires anything besides the color code. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea to hide a crystal shard there that requires ice that you can't even find in this level. I mean, there is a later crystal shard that does that as well, but that one's a lot more obvious. Not that. I guess that would be like a counterpart to it, which I'll show you later, but still, I just think out of all the things in this game, that was kind of annoying for a lot of people. That was right up there with the Rick Roll one. And then of course you have a constantly advancing wall of fire. Just run at this point. Okay, that's fine. I don't need any meat. That's cool. I'll just keep running. Cake. Always time for cake. Slide kick. Ow. I was gonna try to be cool, like slide kick, jump, but that just crushed my dreams. I was just trying to be cool. I was just trying to enjoy. Alright, I'd like to just beat this level, please, at this point. That's fine. That's fine. Alright, well that invincibility length was really long, apparently. Alright, fine. And of course, it doesn't work like a Return of Jingle Man where you kind of like shoot back the advancing wall. Nope, no dice. And you think that ends there? It does not. Now you have to go up here and climb. But make sure you get to the top left, because, as you might have probably guessed, there is in fact a crystal shard right there. So, but if you could tell, that advancing wall of magma isn't going up way too fast, so you have plenty of time really here. Once you get to a certain point though, it does start moving up a lot faster. I think like right here is when it starts like moving super quick towards you. And then here, just keep bounding these blocks there. Well, I guess you didn't even see the magma come up. Alright, well, you saw a shake, so that's one thing. And card? Got it. Haha, success. So I guess really that just leaves the boss, Magman, at this point. This is probably one of the cooler bosses in this game, or not really. It's at least better than Pyribbit. Pyribbit uses Magman as one of his attacks, which is a cool reference the first time you see it, and then pain every time after. Recommendation: stay in the middle here. And once a platform, for this attack, once the platform comes down, jump on that platform immediately. It cannot go up twice, and if you don't, you can easily get stuck between two spots. It's good to stay in the middle as well, because the most you have to jump over to avoid that attack is 2. If you're all the way over at one side, you have to avoid, well, 3, and that's a lot harder. For that attack, the first one and the second one will always grab underneath you, like this. This is over here. So let's see if I can get an example of what I'm talking about there. Like there, for example. That's going to go there, it's going to go there, jump back. There you go. It's very nice when you're on the outside of the two it decides to use, but that's usually unlikely and doesn't happen. And for this point, make sure you get all the way over here to the right, because then Magman's going to start chasing you and advancing on you until you get over to this section. If you're already over at this section pretty easily, then it won't really be too much of an issue for you. Now keep in mind, in this, Magman's only weakness is its face. You can shoot projectiles all you want at its bottom half, it will not work. So you have to jump up and hit him that way. I recommend, as usual, grabbing 2 if you can, for more damage. Does twice as much damage as usual. When that attack happens, you want to stay close in this for this phase. You want to stay close to Magman, because there's that fire move which you just saw, which can only be avoided if you're directly next to him. So just stay here, right on the outside of his little edge there. But if you're too far over from the left, as you noticed there, you're pretty much out. Also, as you can see there, you can't just stun the rocks that are coming down by jumping into them. You have to legitimately avoid them. So that can make it really annoying. I'll just cut away until we get back to that phase again, because this is pretty long considering. Alright, here we are again. Let me just stay over at this corner again. Also, he does the little Marks pit thing that you see out of, well, Marks and Grand Doomer, and a lot of, I think I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other Kirby bosses that do the exact same thing. But Marks was definitely the first in that regard. Ooh boy, we got 2 right there. Perfect. That stupid attack. Oh, I got 1. 1 more hit and you should be good. And Magman is melted, I guess, or dried up, I suppose would be his case. Whatever, got the shard, who cares. Hi, Kirby. Oh, look how nice and peaceful it is out here. How'd you get here so quickly? You're inside the volcano that was already active, and somehow managed to float out of here, and now the volcano decides to explode? Alright. Well, time to go ahead and head over to our next spot. I like the way Kirby goes ahead and just inhales Waddle Dee there to try and get him inside quicker. Very thoughtful. Either way, next time at Kirby 64, we'll be tackling on the next level, Shiver Star, which looks very similar to another planet we all know. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's just a coincidence. Anyway, see you guys next time.